So here's how I think about my goals for the business. Okay, so the first thing that I always start with is profit. What is the profit goal for the year? So let's just say, for example, my goal is that I want to make $100,000 inside of my contracting business. Now, if I also have goals around being able to spend more time with family, that's totally cool. But we always want to start with profit, because then we can start to figure out, okay, how do we remove ourselves from the job site? Because at the end of the day, if the profit isn't there, nothing else really matters. So I like to start with this, and then in phase 2, I can start to plan out how exactly I'm going to remove myself from the day-to-day so that I can spend more time with the family. But we'll start with profit. And what we're going to figure out is exactly what we need to do each month in order to be able to get to that point. So when we start with profit, this is the most important metric, but we need to then also figure out, okay, how much work would we need to book in order to generate $100,000 of profit? So let's just say that your net profit margin on the jobs that you do, which is basically just after you paid for all of your expenses, how much money is left over, right? So if I did a $10,000 job and I was left with $3,000 that I got to put in my pocket after I paid my employees, after I paid for all the materials, after the gas and insurance and all of those sorts of things, that would be a 30% net profit margin, okay? And if you're not at 30%, I mean, it depends on the business, but it's like, we'll just say your net profit is 30%, okay? So what you would do to figure out how much work you need to book is you would do 100,000 divided by 0.3, okay? So that means that we would need to book 300. So we'll go sales. We would need to book 333,033. I'll just go like to a 4 here. Okay, make that a 3. So this is how much we would need to book in work. Now, what I would want to look at next to figure out, okay, how do I actually book that amount of work, is I would want to look at how many jobs is that actually going to be. So let's just say, for example, okay, that my average job, I know that every job is going to be different, but if I took my total sales from the previous year and divided it by the total amount of projects that I did, that would give me my average job size. So let's just say, for example, my average job was going to be $4,000. Okay, maybe I'm running like a painting business. That's what I used to run as well. So let's just say it was that. That means that it would be 83.35 jobs. So what that means, I'm going to round it up, right? So we'll go 84. I guess I'll put that equal sign over here. But that would be 84 jobs, okay? I don't even need an equal sign. So that would be 84 jobs. In order to book 84 jobs, how many people would need to reach out to me? Now, this community that I run, it's about how do we do Facebook ads. So I'm going to use those numbers here. So typically, we want to have a 25% lead to estimate ratio, and we want to be booking at least 50% of the jobs that we, or 50% of the bids that we go and do. So if we want to be able to book 84 projects so that we can book $333,000, so that we can make $100,000 in profit, that means then that we would need to do, if our booking rate was 50%, if we landed 50% of the bids that we did, that would mean, right, we could do 84 times 2. We would need to do 168 estimates. Okay, and so we would need to do 168 estimates to book 84 jobs, so that those 84 jobs at 4,000 each would equal the 333,000, okay? In order to get 168 estimates, that means if our lead to estimate ratio was 25%, which just means that 1 in 4 people who reach out, we actually end up doing an estimate for, okay? If that was the case, we do 168 divided by 0.25, which means that we would need to get 672 leads in order for that to happen. Okay, so this same sort of math will hold true whether it's through Facebook or it's through some other source, but all that we're doing right now is we're just trying to figure out okay, what are the inputs that are required in order to actually make this happen? I see a lot of people who start off with a goal of 100,000, but they never take the time to actually sit back and go, okay, what would need to be true in order for that to happen? Now, this is just the sales side, sales plus marketing, right? But there will as well be a production, okay? There will also be other aspects of the business that are going to need to get better, but we're just starting with the sales and marketing. So what that would mean, right, is we could go, okay, we're gonna work 12 months out of the year. So 672 divided by 12. That's 56 leads per month, okay? And then if we divide that by 4, that's gonna be 14 leads per week, okay? So now in order to get 14 leads per week, if we were spending, let's say $20 to get a lead, that means that each week, if we were doing, say, Facebook ads, but it's just looking at the math. It could be door to door. That's what we did, a lot of door to door as well. But that would be 280 per week on ads, right? Or 1,120 per month. So what this now allows us to do is I can see, okay, if we spend 280 per week, that's 1,100, call it, per month, that would give us 56 leads per month. If we did 56 times 0.25, right, we're just figuring out how many estimates we would get to do per month. That would be 14 estimates per month. If we land 7 of them, right, because 14 divided by 2, we got a 50% booking rate. But if you can get better at sales, then this changes all of the numbers too. But if we do that, right, that means we're gonna get 7 jobs. 7 times 4,000. That means that we're gonna book 28,000 per month, right? So then we do 28,000 times 12, and there you go, 336. So the numbers as we go down, it's a little bit different, but that's how we actually think about hitting our goals. And that's the way that I want you guys to think about it too. So now that we have this math broken down, and you can do the same thing for yourself, you just need to know, okay, what's your profit goal? Okay, what's your profit percentage? How much money do you make on each project? So you can figure out how much work you would need to book. How many jobs does that mean? And then based on your numbers, right? And this is why also having good tracking really matters. But if you're not there, then it's like, okay, shoot for like 50%, estimate booking rate, like how many estimates it takes to book a job. 1 and 2 will turn into a job. And then 25% of leads turn into an estimate. So we're just reverse engineering that. Then once we figure this out, then we can go, okay, well, in order to produce 333,000, how many people am I going to need in order for that to happen? So for me, okay, back in the day, it would be 333,334. We would be able to produce about $1,000 per day per crew. So all I'd be doing is I'd be figuring out, okay, how many crews am I going to need in order to produce this 333,000, right? So if I had one crew working 5 days a week, and so that's 20 per month, that'd be 20,000 per month, right? And we can see that we actually need to produce 28,000. So what that probably means is like we'll need 2 crews, and we might even be able to stretch this goal if we can get to 2 crews. So you're just figuring out, first of all, how much do you need to book in order to make the profit goal that you have. Then you're figuring out, okay, how many people would you need in order to be able to produce that amount of work? And then once you figure out that piece, then you can start to figure out, okay, what do I need to do in order to hire that many people, right? Well, I'm gonna need to post job ads. How many job ads? How many applications? What percentage of the applications are gonna need to turn into actual people coming out and trying out? And you just go through that process. And that's all that I do in order to figure out my goals as well. I do it a lot more detailed than this, but this is how I want you to think about creating your goals for the year. is I want you to actually do the math behind hitting your goals. I don't want you to just go, yeah, it'd be really nice to make, $100,000 or whatever your goal is. I want you to actually figure out exactly what that would look like, right? Because if you don't know, then you're just basically driving blindfolded, hoping that you end up in the right place, which will very rarely, if ever, actually happen, okay? A lot of people have goals, but very few people are willing to do the work required to actually make that happen. And the difference between a goal and a dream is that a goal actually has some sort of a plan behind it. They actually know what they need to do in order to hit it. So set your goals accordingly. I hope you find this helpful, and I will see you soon.